And of course, people get a little antsy if they can't use these things in our pockets and our hands. Good morning, New Hampshire. The Pulse of an H. Jack Heath, J Dog on the boards. Have a pretty good looking start to our day, J Dog, actually, and a little brighter than I thought. I thought some clouds would be moving in. We're in milder temperatures and even milder tomorrow. By the way, J Dog, I think it's next Wednesday, mid 50s. New Hampshire vacation week, so people will be heading south as well. Of course, this week's a busy week. Busy week in South Carolina, where Paul Steinhauser joins us live out of the gate. Hey, Google, hey, Alexa, play the Pulse of an H on this Thursday morning. Paul Steinhauser live ahead of the big primary there, and he's been sort of camping out, maybe bought a condominium in Greensboro. Who knows? But Paul Steinhauser reports nationally for Fox News and us as well. Good morning, New Hampshire, the Pulse of an H. Good morning, Paul. Mhm. It'll be interesting to see. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, Paul, but thank you for the live report. But it'll be interesting to see post South Carolina if the polls are even 80% accurate and say Trump comes out of there with a big win and on to Super Tuesday and eventually the nomination. It looks like it's unstoppable. How if the fences are mended at all between him and Haley, because she's sort of the one who's hung in there. He's gone at her hard, she's going at him hard. But when Trump recently sort of disclosed his short list for potential VPs. A couple of those people on that list, beyond the Senator Scott, were Ron DeSantis, and you know how much they went back and forth. So it'll be interesting to see post this period if Nikki Haley is at some point to pull out and concede this thing to Trump, how those fences are mended, or if they are. Yeah, I would not disagree. I think he's looking at Tim Scott. He may, but we'll see. All right, thank you. All right, Paul. We'll talk. Maybe catch you one more time before the Republican primary in South Carolina. Hey, we're going to switch gears. By the way, before we bring in our friends from Southern New Hampshire University, our Penman Pride segment, we have a tremendous New Hampshire State Police segment queued up or teed up for you, teed up like a golf course here. The tea time will be in about 10-15 minutes. Brought to you by AutoFair, talking about a commercial driver's class with great partnerships. But before we get there, our Penman Pride segment, I want to bring in one of the great folks who's leading on the marketing side of things in terms of communication, teaching as a professor at Southern Hampshire University. John Borashak joins us live. And John, our Penman Pride segment, is talking about a brand new podcasting class that he'll be teaching beginning in the fall. And Professor John joining us. Thanks for being with us. Good, thank you. I'd love to talk with you more about this because I'm intrigued. Pretty much people that do what I do, any kind of a news talk show or a talk show, a podcaster associated with the network AM and FM classic network of news talk stations we're on. And of course, what's fascinating to me, Professor, and I want to talk about what you're teaching is we have streaming numbers each week now on my program because any smart device, Alexa, hey, Google, play the Pulse of an H, or Android, iPhone, desktop. So we have thousands of people streaming. So all this is changing as we speak. But podcasts are something that a lot of people love. Younger people love them. So I applaud you for getting into teaching this. So what was sort of the impetus behind creating the podcasting class? You and I have something in common, John. I haven't met you, I don't think. If we have, please forgive me. I grew up north of Boston in a small town called Swampscott, Massachusetts. And on the no school days, remember when it would snow and you had to listen before people didn't have cell phones, so you had to listen to the local radio to see if Swampscott or Marblehead or Salem or if schools called off. And then m- well, no, I'd imitate. I'd well, no, I'd imitate. I'd go on and do a newscast, and my mother would on the cassette, and then I'd do the Boston Bruins play-by-play because I was a hockey guy, and I'd be doing that. So, John, tell me what kind of students you're looking for in this class, and why do you think podcasts are becoming more and more popular? Mhm, mhm. Now, you listen to John Borashak, he's a marketing communications professor, Southern New Hampshire University, new podcast course they're teaching, which again, I applaud Southern New Hampshire University. One of my critiques of some colleges, not your colleges, being innovative, being entrepreneurial. Southern New Hampshire University is constantly, in my opinion, thinking out of the box. John, talk a little bit about the co-design podcast that you and a student have started on campus, and what that sort of taught you about how popular a class can be on this. Mhm. Well, yeah, I think yeah, no, it's young people like that I want to pick their brains versus the other way around, right? Yeah. John, I want to talk about careers in podcasting. Before I do, though, what's your background? Because you have such a natural passion or interest and energy for this. Awesome. Yeah, and Southern New Hampshire University must be such a fun place because, again, I think the open environment. I still remember the story Steve Boucher teed up for us once with President LeBlanc, where some students. This is now old story. Had an idea for like a midnight munchie food truck on campus because they noticed a lot of the students with cars were going downtown to Manchester off your home campus, and they just thought if they offered some food services on campus after midnight might do well. And he basically they stopped him on campus, if I have the story right, and he basically said, "Write it up and, talk to a professor, whatever, let's do it." And that wa that's just awesome. So I love the openness of Southern Hampshire University. Before I let you go, what about opportunities for careers in podcasts? Because what I've noticed, John, is as someone who's been in broadcast, television, radio, my own show now over the years, and streaming is changing the game. But podcast, it's like talking about Tom Brady in football or Patrick Mahomes, if you mentioned Joe Rogan. Podcasts, there's so many of them you have to go really deep, really narrow and deep, not broad and wide, to get a measurable audience. It seems to me, one thing that you're passionate about, whether it's fly fishing or hunting or camping. Some kind of hobby seems to do well. Unsolved mysteries, but if you go broad, it's tough to get that big audience. Can you comment on that and a little bit on career opportunities you see? Good stuff. John, thank you very much. Good luck in your podcasting class. Love to get you back again soon. Maybe with Amanda, we'll do another segment. All right. We take a quick break. We come back. Our New Hampshire State Police segment brought to you by Auto Fair, talking about commercial driving, some great programs and collaborative efforts. We got a packed studio for you. Great segment coming up. Hey, Google. Hey, Alexa, play the Pulse of an Age. Back in a moment. All right, welcome back. I guess that cell phone situation and is in other states. If you're hearing about this morning, not in the New England area, it looks like, but in certain carriers. So we'll have more on that. You heard in our friends from the start of the show on the news side. Going to switch gears though before we bring in our state police segment, which is an awesome one coming up. John Decker, our own White House correspondent, kicking off this morning. And John, good morning. President Trump. We're just talking with Paul Steinhauser from Fox News in South Carolina ahead of the primary, already talking about a short list of running mates. And on the day of the New Hampshire primary, I asked former President Trump if Tim Scott was on that very short list. He said absolutely yes, but there's a few others. John, take it away. Yeah. Although I just going to say this quickly, John. Trump is the one person who might say if you throw a name at him, if he doesn't like the person, but your point's the same, which is interesting. No, absolutely. Oh, certainly. And if you people remember when Trump first got in, it was just he went full all out on DeSantis nicknames and everything. Probably more so than he is against Nikki Haley. But John, real quickly, the other thing I've noticed in the past is when presidential potential nominees of their own party go too far outside the lane to pick someone who hasn't been vetted recently, kind of an out of the box choice. That doesn't always go so well either. Sometimes an opponent you run against who's gone through the process, who's been vetted, is a safer pick. But we'll see where it goes. Right. All right. Thank you, John Decker, our own White House correspondent. All right. Our New Hampshire State Police segment is a little bit delayed. We have plenty of time, though, in the next segment or two. Brought to you by Auto Fair. And delighted to bring in, we have a great group in our studio. Staff Sergeant Carl Huddleston, Troop G, New Hampshire State Police, working and coordinating with everyone from the Department of Motor Vehicles as well as the federal side of things on transportation to really look about getting safer drivers for commercial operation, if you will, transportation, commercial drivers. Sergeant, thanks for being here. Tell us about this. Really? Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and potential employment. I mean, may right. Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Right, right. Let me switch to Steve just to explain how does the New Hampshire, the Division of Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, what is that? Who is that? How do you work with the state officials? Mhm. Yep. Right. Mhm. It Mhm. Mhm. Right. We'll be bringing director of motor vehicles, John Marasco, and director Marasco. Thanks for being here. Real quickly, what's your take? Because you oversee all motor vehicles, but commercial side of things, big part of the roadways out there, big part of people's lives, big part of our being consumers to get goods. New England's a busy area, so commercial side. What do you think of this program? And we're going to take a short break after you, and then we come back. I think on the enforcement side, we have Chief Mark Armaganian is going to join us as well with New Hampshire Liquor Enforcement. Director Marasco, what's your take on all this collaboration? Well, I was going to say, yeah. Yeah, Staff Sergeant said that this might be a national program, and that's the kind of thing you must like because you've worked with, overall public safety as a major now with motor vehicles. These are the types of things, you like to probably see. Good stuff. Hold on, I'm going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to bring in the enforcement side of this because Staff Sergeant talked about, the consequences. If a tractor, if a commercial driver is pulling something from a manufacturer or distributor, that's one thing. But if there's any consumption or personal use, people want to spread the word. Back with that and more. Our New Hampshire State Police Public Safety segment brought to you by AutoFair. Back in a moment.
News, info.
All right, welcome back, and we have a great segment on commercial drivers and any. By the way, if you want to ask a quick question, we might be able to squeeze in if you're a commercial operator and you want to comment on this 603-228-2080. Our New Hampshire State Police segment each week brought to you by AutoFair. Want to bring in Staff Sergeant Huddleston again to sort of tee this up, and we have on the line, our listener lines, Chief Mark Armaganian, a regular on the show. He's head of liquor enforcement, partnering in this effort. So, Staff Sergeant Huddleston, I want to give Mark Armaganian enough time because we know he never likes to go long, and also the our federal side of things, I guess, played football with Chief Armaganian, and he was a great place kicker, I guess, in football. But Staff Sergeant, could you maybe tee up the program again? Chief, take it away. Mhm. Now, can I interrupt, Chief? Just a quick question, Chief. My understanding is you just came off some shoulder surgery, which couldn't have come from being a place kicker. Oh, okay. I thought you told me you were a place kicker. No, okay. You could tell I missed you. I haven't seen you in a while. But Chief, I'm the one who's making having fun because I think the world of you. This is a great group of people. When you think of the collective years of experience on this segment here and what it means for public safety. But Chief, maybe talk a little bit about the staff sergeant said. People are not aware of the consequences of personal transportation on the commercial side of liquor versus, say, hauling a load. Can you talk about that? Yep. Right. And Staff Sergeant Huddleston, thank you, Chief Armagani. And just one more time, because maybe some people weren't listening, just what the consequences can be for improper distribution of alcohol as a commercial operator. Yep. Hmm. Yeah. Right. All right. Final words, Director Marasco. And on the federal side, I appreciate this. A great segment. Final words.
They're out there in all elements, and
Right.
they make this happen. So I want to thank them.
And on the federal side of things, any final thoughts or information or follow up?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Jack. And just one message similar to texting and driving. Purchase of alcohol from a C&D driver. It can wait. Once you get done your day, get in your private vehicle, when you're on your own time.
Good point.
Don't get jammed up because it has a great impact on your company
Yeah.
and you as a license holder.
And you're a profession, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
because
I
as
can
the
wait.
staff sergeant
We're trying
said,
to save lives. They're the front line. Those drivers at the front line, quest to save lives and reduce crashes.
and I have found over time, they tend to be some of the best operators out there because it is their livelihood. You know, they're on the road, they're away from their families, and as you just said, it can wait. All right, thank you all very much, Chief Armageddon. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And
Thank you, Jack.
our friends at Auto Fair, thank you very much. Auto Fair, New Hampshire State Police, thank you. Excuse me, we'll take a quick break. Straight to the dome. Lucas Meyer on deck. Next, Good Morning, New Hampshire, the Pulse of an H. Hey, Google, hey, Alexa, play the Pulse of an H.
107.7 WTP.
On this. Welcome back on a pretty nice looking Thursday. It's hard to believe it's Thursday. Shortened week with President's Day. I think the current president remembered that. No, I'm kidding. Sorry, it's just a little joke there. I'm sorry. Lucas Meyer, Lucas Meyer on this shorter week. Nice looking Thursday out there. Yeah, actually, it's got some sun holding on, milder temperatures moving in. Lucas has some meetings in our political analyst side of things, and straight to the dome. Lucas Meyer, one of the leading Democrat strategists and analysts and advisors out there. Good morning, Lucas. How are you? There you go. Lucas, you're one of the things you and I haven't talked about, but I think at the House today, you're voting on a bill to legalize marijuana for greater recreational use. And the proposal would be you'd buy it from certain state sanctioned centers or locations. It feels like this could pass the House. And then the big question is going to be two questions, Lucas: the Senate and Governor Sununu, if he were to veto something, if it hit his desk. What are your thoughts on this bill? What do you What do you think? What do you think on this makeup of this Senate? Well, well, let's do this. Let's play this out a little more. Lucas Meyer, straight to the dome with some Democrat thoughts on what's happening. A Democrat strategist. Let's assume it squeaks by the Senate. What does Governor Sununu do on this? Outgoing governor, outgoing governor. He's decriminalized possession for small amounts, greater expanded marijuana for medicinal use, but still held short on the overall recreation like other states. What do you think if this were to land on his desk? What do you think he'd do? Hmm. Right. Mhm. All right, what else is catching your eye at the State House? Lucas Meyer. Mhm. Mhm. Yep. All right, Lucas, thanks for squeezing us in. I know you got a busy morning. If people want to contact you, follow up, what's the best way? Thank you, Lucas. All right, top of the 10 o'clock. Neil Levesque, St. Anselm College, Institute of Politics, one of our political analysts and all-stars, going to weigh in ahead of South Carolina. Just a couple days. Big Republican contest. A reminder, Tenny Mountain, the official ski area of the Pulse of an Age. Good morning, New Hampshire. Conveniently located right in Plymouth, not far from Plymouth State University. And a little bit later on, Aaron Rial, NBC News Radio national correspondent, weighing in. And Phil Taub in the 11 o'clock is going to share with us a story about an important veteran movie tonight on mental health happening over in Portsmouth. Hey, Google, hey, Alexa, play the Pulse of an H. Jack Heath, the illustrious one, J-Dog on the boards. Back in a moment.